Welcome back to Shire Travels. In this one, I'm going to take you to some of our favourite spots in England, including areas around Cornwall, Gloucestershire and the Forest of Dean. In no particular order, here we go. Let's head to the south coast of England first, and we're going to visit Durdle Door, which is on the Jurassic coast. Durdle Door is a beautiful archway in the ocean which has been eroded through wind and waves. A very picturesque spot to go and get a few pictures, go for a nice walk on the beach there. To get down to the beach to see Durdle Door, you do need to walk. It is about a 10 or 15 minute walk from Durdle Door Holiday Park. There is parking there. The parking is paid parking, however there are toilets there, which is very handy. It's around about a 15-minute walk. You walk along, I guess, kind of the headland, and then you head down to Durdle Door. The steps down to the beach is 143 steps down. Now there are little places to stop and a handrail, but just bear that in mind. At the base of the chalk cliffs which surround the beach, there are lots of different caves. They do recommend that you don't walk near the cliffs because the limestone there, I guess it is, or chalk, is known to fall down and collapse quite regularly, so don't go too close to the cliffs. It is a pebble beach, so not sand. If you are going to have a picnic there, make sure you bring a rug or something comfortable to sit on. It's one of those places which, with erosion over time, it will eventually be gone, so I guess try and see it while you can. Next we're going to head just north of Durdle Door and we're going to head to the Tank Museum. It is quite funny when you're driving around that area as they have these signs which show that there might be tanks crossing the road. It is a museum, but it is part of an active military base, so they do often have tanks driving around all over the hills there. The Tank Museum has over 300 tanks in it from all different eras and conflicts. As well as showing the tanks, they also have lots of different, I guess, militaria there. They also have stories of soldiers who have been in the wars and their experience of being there firsthand. They also have a cafe there, they have a gift shop as well. It's also very accessible, so if you are in a wheelchair or if you are being a pram, you shouldn't have too many issues getting around the exhibitions. It's one of those places which is probably a good one to have in the back of your pocket if you're going to have a rainy day, which if you've ever been to England before, you'll know they can be fairly common. It's about £20 for an adult and £10 for a child to get in. And while Tom has some interest in military history, I don't at all, but still found it quite interesting. They do actually run a number of event days throughout the year, ones where they get the tanks out and the public can come in and they, I guess, blow things up. It does look pretty fun. Check out their website to see what's happening there. Could be worth heading there for a day trip. The next place we are heading to, we're going to head slightly west and go to Wildwood in Devon. This is one of those places which has a little bit of everything. They have native British wildlife there. They also have indoor playground, outdoor playgrounds. They have a replica Saxon village there. They have a maze, they have zip lining, lots of different things there. The Saxon village we didn't get to see. It was just closed. I think they might have had a school group there when we were actually there at the time. It did look really interesting though. I do remember going to places like that when I was in school in England. Very interesting to see. They try and make it all quite authentic in terms of jobs people have and the way things were cooked and stuff like that. So very interesting to see. One good thing about places like that is they do often have some areas which are indoors. So they had a huge indoor play area just in a barn. This is fantastic. The day that we went, it was a mixed bag of weather, so to be able to escape in there and let the kids just run around indoors was really good. The aim of Wildwood is to help restore British wildlife, British habitat, that sort of thing. So they do have breeding programs there for all different sorts of animals. Animals like otters, beavers, deers. They did have a couple of bears there as well, which I can't quite remember what the story was with why they had the bears, but very interesting to see you go up on a platform right above their enclosure and they're just down below doing their thing. We went out of school holidays and during the middle of the week and there were not that many people there at all. If you went on a weekend in the school holidays, I think it would be very busy, something to keep in mind. The admission price was £15 for an adult and £12 for a child. But in saying that, it is somewhere where you could spend a full day. There's so much to see there, lots of different places to walk around. We had prams with us and found that most of it, even going up onto the platforms, most of them are just ramps rather than steps. So it is pram friendly. There were heaps of different areas that you could go to outside, lots of different playgrounds. They had a huge pirate adventure playground outside. different swings, lots of different places to walk to. They also had a cafe there and a shop as well. Now we'll head to the west coast of Cornwall and I'll just talk you through a couple of little towns that I have been to. The first two are Newquay and Crantock. These are very close to each other. Newquay is the main town and Crantock is more of a kind of holiday village a bit further out. Now Newquay is a fun place. If you go there in school holidays though, you will find that it is like schoolies central. There is a bit of nightlife there. If that is what you're looking for, Newquay is probably the place for you. If you're wanting it to be a bit quieter, head to places like Crantock. We stayed in a campground which was right next to the beach and it was fantastic. All the beaches in Cornwall are just so stunning. I would definitely recommend staying somewhere where you can easily walk to the beach. The next place is Padstow. This is a lovely little harbour town in Cornwall. We pretty much just drove through it. We didn't actually go and spend a lot of time there. We stayed a bit further out of Padstow as it was a bit cheaper. Just be aware of parking around the town is a little bit of a nightmare. While we were in the area, we went to Porthmesson Beach at Trevone Bay. This was a lovely beach. It had really beautiful blue water. They had a really good cafe there, which had an outdoor cocktail station, wood-fired pizza, lots of seating outside. They also had a pretty big car park there. If you've seen one of my other videos, you would have noticed me say that it is paid parking there. There's toilets there, but they are paid toilets as well. Just a few things to bear in mind. In saying that, it was a good day out. We also went to Rock Beach, which is opposite the town of Padstow. This was a beautiful beach, kind of had an estuary going out to the ocean, lots of boats there. But it was quite an easy walk from the car park as well. I think parking there might have actually been free, and I think the toilets were free, which was a nice change. Wasn't too far to walk from the car park. I'd say maybe about 10 minutes. You do have to go up and down a few stairs, so bear that in mind. Don't take a pram. We then had lunch at the Upper Deck restaurant, which is on the road heading out to the Rock Beach car park. This was really nice. Make sure you try and get a table which is waterfront. One tip though, the road out to Rock Beach is single lane. It's not one way, but it is single lane. So if a car is coming the other way, you do have to try and squeeze past each other. Worse, if there is a truck coming the other way, you pretty much just have to hope for the best, let Jesus take the wheel and hope you can squeeze through. Lots of beautiful beaches in that area. We didn't have that much time, but you could really spend a couple of weeks around Padstow area, Newquay area. A lot of them actually have train lines that run to and from them. So if you're not driving or just don't fancy trying to fight for a car park, have a look at the trains as well. They can be very affordable. Plenty to see and do there. The next place we were heading to is the Eden Project. This is somewhere that we chose to go when we were staying in Cornwall as a rainy day activity. And I think the rest of Cornwall also had the same idea that, hey, it's raining, why not go to somewhere indoors? And it was absolutely packed. It's probably one of those places though that in saying that it is busy all year round. Now, what is the Eden Project? When I said to Tom they were going to the Eden Project, I just thought that he would know instantly what it was, but coming from Australia, he was like, what are you talking about? It used to be the site of an old clay mine, and the organisation that now run it have turned it into a, I guess, environmental area. They have built 2 huge biomes, and inside the biomes they have their own climate. There is one which is a rainforest climate, and there's one which is a Mediterranean climate. In addition to the biomes, which are huge, one of them actually has a waterfall inside. Outside they have huge gardens, play areas, lots of different places to see. They have places where they hold concerts in summer, heaps to do there. Now, it isn't cheap. To save yourself a bit of money, buy your tickets online before you go. We weren't 100% sure which day we were going to go there, and so we actually just booked them when we got there. Could have saved us a fair amount of money doing it online. Now, for an adult, it is £38, and for a child, it is £12. Under 5s are free, and I'm pretty sure that once you have bought your ticket, it's then valid for re-entry for a year. So you have the option of either coming back a few days later, maybe when the weather's a bit different, or maybe a few months later you want to see it when there's a different season with all the different gardens. Completely up to you. Now, while I said it was a good option for a rainy day activity, in saying that, do not underestimate how far it is from the car parks to actually get into the biomes. I had in my mind that when you parked, you then got a bus which took you in a bit closer. Maybe that was the case many years ago, but when we went, we parked and then we had to walk a very long way to actually get in to get our tickets, and then another very long way to get down to the biomes. I reckon all up it would have taken us about 20-25 minutes to get from the car to the biomes in absolutely torrential rain. We were just completely soaked through, like all the way through. You know, the type of wet you are when you step in your shoe and you can see all the water like pouring out of your shoe or bubbling through. That's how wet it was. We did have the pram with us. One thing, it is mostly pram friendly. So we had the rain cover on the pram. We just kind of tried to load everything into that as much as we could. They also have cloakrooms in the biomes as well, because they are such hot climates. You might have lots of jackets and coats on and want to take them off. Rather than having to carry them around, you can just take it to a cloakroom. Now it is self-serve cloakroom. You go in, find a coat hanger, leave your jacket there, and just hope no one steals it. We had no issues, but then in saying that, does anyone really want to steal a soaking wet jacket? Probably not. Now walking around the biomes is a really cool experience. As I said before, they do have their own climate, so you get into the rainforest one and you are just hit with the humidity straight away. Make use of the cloakrooms. Don't try and carry all your wet clothes or big coats around with you. Lots of different places to walk through there. You can go up on all different sorts of levels. You can actually go right up to the top of the biome. There's a bit at the end which has got ladders and platforms. There's a waterfall there as well. It really is an amazing experience to be there and see all these plants, things which just do not grow in England, growing and thriving in this huge greenhouse. Was really interesting to see. We then went into the Mediterranean biome after. This one actually has a huge Italian restaurant in the middle of it that does pizzas and things like that. We didn't realize if we should have planned it a bit more, booked a table there and had lunch there. So that would be a hot tip, book lunch in the Mediterranean one. It looked amazing. Same sort of thing, lots of paths and platforms that you can walk up on. The Mediterranean one is a little bit more low-key, I think you would say. It's kind of what you imagine it would be like being in the Mediterranean. Lovely stone walls, lots of vines everywhere, statues, terracotta, that sort of thing. Outside of the biomes, as I said, there's gardens, there's a huge visitor centre, a cafe, a gift shop. They have cafes kind of all over the place, lots of different places to eat. Now we're going to head to somewhere a little bit different on the other side of the country. We are going to go to the Warner Brother Making of Harry Potter studio tour. One for the Harry Potter fans, or if you're just a fan of seeing all the crazy amount of detail that goes into making movie sets and props, I think it is one to visit. It's also another good one, I know I keep saying this, but having up your sleeve as a rainy day activity. In saying that though, you do have to book in advance. You can't get tickets on the door. If you can see a few days when the weather is bad, this could be one to book in. I went once with my sister, I think when it very first opened, and so there wasn't that much to see there. And then went a few years later with Tom and there were more exhibitions. I think if you go now, they just keep adding to it and adding to it, I guess to keep people coming back. It's also one of those places where when you buy a ticket, there's lots of little extras that you can add on. It isn't cheap. For an adult, it is £56 for their standard tour. They do deluxe tours, they do private tours. They also do events throughout the year, which I think are very expensive. So it might be like a Christmas dinner in the Great Hall. Looks amazing, but very expensive. Now, I really enjoyed it. I do like Harry Potter. I did really enjoy it. When I went with my sister, she enjoyed it. She quite likes Harry Potter. When I went with Tom, he's not a Harry Potter fan, but he could still appreciate just the amount of detail and effort that went into creating the sets. And I guess that translates into the movies being so incredible and I guess magical, for want of a better word. But some of the details that you would see there, it's stuff which isn't seen on camera at all, but it all creates this environment which really adds to the movie. There's a few novelty things you can do there, like buying butterbeer, which is an acquired taste, I would say. While it is expensive, it is somewhere where you could spend a whole day if you really wanted to. I think on their website it says the average time spent there is 3.5 hours. It's also very accessible in terms of wheelchair friendly and pram friendly as well. One thing they do is when you get there, you book into a certain tour time. You all sit together in a room and then the door to the Great Hall appears and you go through. That way your entry in is quite staggered. So when you're, I guess, group of people, and look, it might be about 50 of you, but when you start going in, the other people who were in the tour in front of you have already gone through. So when you get through into there, there's not that many people. Both times that we went, I don't remember it being that much of an issue. There were a few bottlenecks in places like the Gryffindor Common Room, for example. Everyone wanted to go up and see that. So there are a few places where you did have to take a little bit of time to wait. Next to the Hogwarts Express as well, there's a bit where you could hold onto the trolley to look like you're going into platform 9 3/4. Getting a picture next to the train. It's probably one of those places where if you booked either the first or the last tour of the day, you'd find that you have a lot more room to move about. Now let's head to the other side of the country, to the county of Gloucestershire. Staying on the Harry Potter theme slightly here, sorry if you're not a fan, we're going to head to Gloucester Cathedral. This is somewhere where a lot of the scenes in Harry Potter were filmed, scenes in hallways, scenes in courtyards. It is a beautiful old building. We also went there for a Christmas Eve carols concert. So my niece and nephew were going, they enjoyed singing along with the carols. We also had a bit of a walk around there, took a few pictures. It does feel quite nice to be there in winter. It does feel quite Hogwartsy. It's free to get in, or it might even be a donation if you want to make one, and it's worth visiting if you're in the area. And if you are in the Gloucester area and you're looking for somewhere else to go which is free, I would recommend checking out the Jet Age Museum. This is a fantastic museum. It is not the biggest museum, but it has quite a few exhibits in one big hall area, lots of different aircrafts in there. They also have an area outside where you can climb up into old disused parts of the aircraft, and they give you a tour and talk you through all of that. You do have to climb up steps to get up into the aircraft outside, so bear that in mind. We didn't even attempt to do it with the kids because we knew it would just be a bit of a disaster. In saying that though, they do have a kids activity book, so when you are inside the main area, there's like a little treasure hunt that they can go and do to keep them entertained. As I said before, it is free, it's run by volunteers, or you can make a donation. There's not much that you can get for free these days, so I think it is one to check out. Just down the road from the Jet Age Museum is the Aviator Pub. This is situated right next to Staverton Airport, which is a very busy small airport. You can sit outside on picnic benches there and watch helicopters and planes coming and going. You can also get a meal inside, you can get drinks. It's a nice place to go if you are into your aviation, or if you just want to have a drink and a meal somewhere which is a little bit different. Staying in the Gloucestershire area, we are going to head to All Things Wild. Similar to Wildwood in Devon that I spoke about earlier, this is one of those places which is a little bit of everything. They have a whole heap of wildlife there, not native wildlife though. They have got deer, zebra, tortoises, meerkats, parrots, wallabies, you name it, they've probably got it there. They also have things like a huge dinosaur barn where you go in and there's big replicas of dinosaurs. They had replicas of mammoths, lots of different things there. They had a barn which had kind of a petting zoo area with some rabbits and guinea pigs, which the little kids loved. They had a reptile house as well. All these places that you can walk around to, lots of paddocks with animals in that you can actually walk through. Ones with goats, we can go in and feed them or pat them or just get head-butted by them if you're a small kid. A lot of it is pram friendly. We had no issues taking our pram around there. One thing they also have which is quite fun is in a few paddocks they have some huge replica dinosaurs, and they have a small train. I say train, it's not on a track, it's just on wheels, that drives around in between the dinosaurs and you can see them all. That was very fun. You do have to queue to get onto it and it only runs for a certain amount of time. They also have a huge indoor play area which has a cafe attached to it, which was very handy to sit and have lunch while all the kids played. They even had areas with football goals, outdoor playgrounds. They had a bit where little kids could ride on like tricycles and scooters. So much to do there. It's one of those places where you could easily spend a day. Buying online will save you some money, and also going during the week is cheaper than the weekend. Now, under threes are free, but anyone over the age of 3, the ticket price is £16. Which at first I was like, what? That's a rip-off. But actually we ended up doing exactly what the kids did. I can kind of see why it is just one price, but something to bear in mind. And at the end of the day, we paid it, we went, we had a really good time. Now we're going to head to the beautiful Cotswolds, and I'm going to talk you through some of the lovely villages that you can find there. One thing to note with all these quaint little villages is that if you go there in the middle of summer, in the middle of the day, it will be absolutely jam-packed. They quite literally bus tourists in there, let them have a walk around, take them home. If you go in a shoulder season, so spring or autumn, or if you go first thing in the morning or late in the afternoon, it will be less crowded. Another thing to remember is that when you are walking around these villages, you can almost feel like you're in a bit of a movie set. Some of them are just so quaint. Some of these villages have been used in movies, they've been used in adverts as well. Some of them are quite well known and famous for it. But just remember that these are actually people's real houses. Some people I think don't realize this and open up the gates and go into their gardens and pictures of them by the front door. This is people's gardens, actual private property, so make sure you are staying outside of people's gardens. Don't go opening any gates or anything like that. Appreciate it from the outside and take yourself some lovely pictures. Some of the best villages to visit with names like they've just come out of an episode of Midsummer Murders are Burton on the Water, Stow on the Wold, Upper and Lower Slaughter, and Morton in Marsh. All of them, same sort of thing, lovely stone buildings, stone walls. They might have a small river or creek running through the middle of them with bridges going over it. Very quaint tea shops, ice cream shops, lots of touristy shops. They are picturesque, perfect. You could spend a whole day going from one to the other. It's a really nice way to spend a bit of time in the British countryside. The next place I'm going to tell you about, I thought was called Cotswold Water Park, but I see it has just been renamed to the Cotswold Lakes. At the Cotswold Lakes, they have accommodation, big holiday houses, chalet types of things. They have glamping and everything in between. They have heaps of activities there. Stand-up paddleboarding, bike hire, boat hire, horse riding, fishing, a swimming area for kids, playgrounds, kids boat hire, walking tracks, and so on. They have events throughout the year. When we went, we just enjoyed the kids swimming area at the lake. They fenced off a small area which is kind of a beach and it's pretty shallow. I think at the deepest point it was probably only about this deep. They also have a playground there. The playground there did not have any shade at all, and the playground floor was black, kind of like foamy tarmac, which in the sun heated up like lava. In saying that, there were a few small areas that you could sit in the shade. They had a few kind of shelters built and there were a few trees around. As right next to that spot, they have the cafe, gift shop, and they also had an activity centre there. We decided to do the kids boat hire, so this is a very, very small, very slow. I think the top speed might have been, I'm gonna say 6 knots. So you go to the cafe area and that's where you book and pay for it. It might have only been, I don't know, £15 for half an hour. Half an hour, plenty of time. You don't need much more than that. You get your life jackets and everything. You hop onto the boat and it's just electric motor. Kids can drive it, you can drive it. You would be doing well to have any sort of crash because it just goes so slow. It's a bit of fun. The water itself, probably about 1 meter deep. There's a few little pontoon type castles. There might be even like duck houses that you can boat around, and then once you've had enough you can hop off. That was worth doing. It's worth spending a few extra pounds to do an experience like that. It is paid entry to get in. You're essentially paying to park there, and then getting in and using the lake and the playground, things like that, is free. Now it does book out, so on really busy days, once the car park is full, that's it, they're done shut. Make sure you book your tickets online in advance. I know it can be difficult with the unpredictable British weather, but if it looks like there's a few days where it's going to be sunny, it's definitely somewhere to book in. A free place to visit now, it's one which is a little bit random, but I've been there plenty of times and it is a very nice spot. This is May Hill. If you're into short walks and nice views, this is one for you. You can park down the bottom of the hill and then I think it's around about a 20-minute walk to get up to the top. One thing to bear in mind if you're going there in autumn or winter or after there's been a bit of rain is it can be quite muddy. Now you can take dogs there, but bear in mind that there are horses that graze on the hill. So if your dog isn't too sure of horses or may chase them, maybe keep them on a lead. The walk itself, yes, it's 20 minutes, but it's not that bad of a gradient to climb up. When you get to the top, there is a small coppice of trees and then there's nice views over the River Severn and the surrounding countryside. Unless you're there on a really foggy day like we were, and you won't get to see much, but it was a really interesting place to be in the fogginess. Now the small coppice of trees at the top are actually an area of scientific interest, which I didn't realise. But I can understand why, because there's no other trees really around and then there's just this one clumped together. Whether they were planted there a long time ago as some sort of strategic outpost, or whether they just grow there for some other reason, I don't know. On a good day, it's a beautiful spot for a picnic, well worth a walk up there for some beautiful countryside views. Now we're going to head to the Dean Forest Railway. Founded in 1979, the trains run on old parts of the Severn and Wye railway lines. They only run on a very small section of the track these days. They go from Lydney to Park End, which is probably about 4.5 miles between both of them. The main station is Norchard, and at Norchard they have a cafe, a shop and a museum. They run services on Wednesdays, Saturdays and Sundays from March to November, and then at Christmas time they actually have some special trains that they run, like Santa trains, and they also have different events that they do throughout the year. So they do a gin train, they do murder mystery parties, they also do dining carriages as well. We did one of the train rides, I think it was on the Wednesday that went in the middle of the day. It only went for an hour and a half, but we thought that was plenty of time. As we had 2 small children with us, we thought an hour and a half would probably be all that they would be able to tolerate. On the train, you're seated in seats of 4 with a table in the middle of you, and we decided to pre-order some morning tea to enjoy while we were sitting on the train. We could do this online when we ordered our tickets, so we decided to book the, I think it might have been called the scone morning tea, so it had a couple of scones, a couple of hot drinks, and then for our 3-year-old there was kind of a kids morning tea lunch pack which had a sandwich in it, pack of crisps, those sort of things. As you're going along on the train, they give you running commentary as to the history of the train line. There's a few different places that it stops and you have the opportunity to get off the train. You can use the toilets or you can just go and take nice pictures of the steam engine. We really enjoyed it. It is very family friendly. It's also disabled friendly. They do have some carriages which are wheelchair accessible. Now kids 4 and over are £9 on the trip that we did, and adults were £17.50. We thought it was well worth it. It really felt like one of those places where the money that you're giving goes back into the trains. You can kind of see that they are spending the time and money to reinvest it and make the experiences and the trains better and better. As I said before, there are heaps of different train rides that they offer, something for everyone, I think. One to check out if you're in the area. There is a lot on offer in the Forest of Dean. There's lots of different experiences. It is a very interesting and special part of the country. That is a wrap on a few great spots to visit in England. Hopefully you got some good ideas there and it will take you to some places that are off the beaten path. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you have enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.